Why you find it so hard to get rich? It's actually easy. Marcus Staten. I've never heard of this guy. Obviously, small channel. Let's see what he has to say. Let's see why this video got 59,000 views.
Getting rich, escaping a life of mediocrity, is actually fairly simple. I guarantee if you're finding it hard, you're overcomplicating this entire process. And so for me personally,
it's very hard to take you seriously when you have a posh British accent. It sounds like you were born with the silver spoon in your ass. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, shit, because I know people like that. This is why I'm calling him out. I don't know this guy, so I could be wrong. But I know people that always talk about, oh, it's easy to get rich and blah, 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 blah. They sell courses. They make videos. And when you come to find out, they really didn't put any hard work in at all. They were born rich. I have a buddy literally like this who is always peddling bullshit on the internet. Oh, I dropped out of high school. I did this, I did that, and now I'm driving a Lamborghini. But anybody who takes 10 minutes to go do some research on the nigga finds out that his parents were rich. So you got to take stuff like this at a grain of salt, right? You got to take it at a grain of salt.
I finally went from broke era to over 100K per month when I stepped back. I stopped trying to be so smart. I dumbed down the plan. I got out of my own way. And so in the next couple minutes, I will explain a universal 4-step process. And I don't care who you are, where you were born.
He says, Scott, you can't do a British accent for shit.
This 4-step process, you will guarantee for yourself that you get rich. It's impossible. And
says, Scott, say water. The water. We got a bottle of water.
This making money thing, this getting rich thing, it's just not going to be for you. You've got to give yourself a chance. And so, the first step of this amazing, I haven't even given it a name, but universal 4-step process. If you follow this, it will change your life. Step 1, pick a business model. Pick a vehicle. Now let me cook for a second. Because ultimately, what's the best business model, you may be asking? Good question. The best business model is the one that you stick to and take relentless action on for the next 3 years, 5 years, whatever it may be. Look, there is no best business model. The best business model is the one you commit to, not the one that some guru is teaching in some 997 course. However,
okay. Let's take note of what he just said. If this guy is starting to sell a goddamn course at the end, we know he's full of shit. Let's see.
There are some criteria that we can use to establish which is a better business model for us as a person, right? Because every business model works. I know people making millions, drop shipping, AI, agencies, SMMA, trading, you name it, they all work.
The pyramid scheme.
Businesses we can choose from, vehicles that we can choose from. And so you've got to find something that feels like play to you, but looks like work to others. The person who enjoys walking will walk further than the person who wants the destination.
I literally have been saying this for months about streaming. When I was telling you guys that when I do my streams, I try to just be myself. No character, no acting, no performance. I'm just trying to be myself because if I'm just being myself, it's easy. So basically that's what he's saying right here. If you grab something that you already like doing, it's going to be easy for you because you're already passionate about it. You're not going to get burnt out because you're doing something you enjoy. Also, on the point of the British accent, the only British accent I can do is the accent of the top G. The British accent from Luton. Me and my brother, we grew up in Luton, in the slums. It wasn't a lavish lifestyle. Our dad was a chess player, master chess player. Me and Tristan. That's the only British accent I can do, chat.
And so we all want this destination. The business, especially at the beginner end, is a vehicle for you.
His must say, stop it.
Financial, personal change. And so we all want that, but it's not the goal which separates everyone. Because if you would have, if it's the destination that creates the success, you would have already had it by now. And so we need to pick a vehicle that you actually enjoy the process. Because if you enjoy walking and you enjoy the destination, you become a very powerful weapon. You gain a competitive advantage without having gained any skills whatsoever. But at the very least, you need to pick a business model that you don't hate the process and the work around it. Because if you do,
you're going to burn out. If you don't like the business model you choose, you're forcing yourself into it, you're going to burn out. But that's the mistake a lot of people make, man. A lot of people are going to do something that they aren't passionate about. They're doing it just for the money. I've said it a billion times. If you want to become a content creator just for the money, you're going to burn out. Don't get me wrong. I want money. I want to see that success, but I also enjoy the process. I enjoy sitting here and yapping. I enjoy having people hearing my opinions. If you don't enjoy the process, then you're going to get burnt out. We literally had this conversation yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday, when I was telling you guys it's not about the materialism. It's about the journey getting to the materialistic object. You know, getting to the Lamborghini. It's not, the goal isn't getting to the Lamborghini. The goal is getting to the goal. And once you get to that goalpost, you're going to move to the next goalpost. The Lamborghini doesn't matter. I literally said this yesterday. I might not have said it with a posh British accent, but I said the exact same thing yesterday.
Already stacking the deck against your favor, against the odds. Business in itself is a very difficult sport, and if you're making it even,
the goal is the goal. It is.
You are doomed to fail. And so
the goal is a placeholder, Peso.
Commit to it. Congratulations, you just found the most profitable, easiest, fastest, laziest business model of 2025. It is the one you just committed to, because I know for a fact that you're going to commit to this motherfucker and work on it like a madman, which brings us on to step 2. We have said business model. What do we do now? Well, we need to identify the inputs of this business, because business, this weird sort of structure of business, it's just a system. Inputs, process, outputs, and then feedback. But we can forget about feedback for a second. The outputs of a business at the early stages is simply money in our pocket, right? So the input is whatever actually just grows the business. It's the needle movers, not that complicated. You see, the inputs for an agency may be cold calling, DMs, emails, running ads, for drop shipping, testing products, testing creatives. For content, it would be creating content. But it's simple, but it's so important that you understand what actually in this, what do I need to do with this thing, this system, to get the output? What is...
It's like, you know what's crazy about videos like this, chat? What's crazy is that what he's explaining is just common sense. And I feel like they break it down into multiple layers of extraction, but all he's saying is the consequences of your actions, right? If you want a business to succeed, if you want to be a content creator, you got to create content. If you want to fucking sell sodas, you know, if you want to sell sodas, you need to get the fucking raw materials to make the sodas. You need to get the raw materials to process them. You need to get the employee. Like, it's just, you know, you can't get to the end. You can't get to the end game without following the steps necessary to get there. This isn't like some sort of rocket science. It really isn't. But the problem is that a lot of people will turn on their computer and they'll sit down and they'll watch 200 videos like this one, and they still won't get it. They'll watch 200 videos like this one and they still won't get it. Or they want to learn how to code. They'll watch 200 tutorials on how to code and they still won't get it at the end. They want to trade stocks. They'll watch 1,000 videos about how to trade stocks and they'll never they'll never actually do step 1. Forget about watching videos. We're watching this video because it's entertainment. But if you want to be successful, guys, if you want to meet your goals, forget about watching videos. Forget about doing all the research. Just do the first fucking step. You want to create content? Turn on your fucking camera and start yapping. If you never do the first step and you just keep looking for videos and looking for information, you're never going to do it. You're procrastinating. So it's not to shit on the content creators that make videos like this one, because I'm sure this works for some person. Maybe out of 1 million people, one person watched this video and actually said, you know what, let me go do this first step to get towards my goal. But most people who watch this kind of content are just watching this shit to fucking feel better about themselves. They're like, I did my research today. They never actually go out and do the thing. They never start the business. They never start to make the content. They never do anything. They're just watching videos to watch videos. He says, Scott just talking out his ass. Oh my God. How am I talking out my ass?
You need to identify the input. It is so important because that becomes the goal.
I'd rather just keep eating.
And the outputs will happen as a byproduct. But we're not going to get onto that part in a second. Just identify the inputs. And you need to make sure that you get this right because it allows you to cut through all of the other noise out there in terms of what do I actually do. You just do the inputs. If you continue to spam this one button, you know that somewhere, the law of accumulation, you are making progress towards whatever it is you want. And so step 2.
It's like common sense.
The inputs within your specific business model. Now there could be multiple inputs you can choose from. So I refer you back to that first answer, which is choose something that kind of leans into your competitive advantages, or at least you don't hate it. Moving on to step 3 now. You've got a business model, and ideally you pick a niche within that, and you've identified the inputs. Now we look at that market that we're in, the specific niche within the business model, and find 3 to maybe up to 10 competitors who are successfully doing what we want to do. Ideally, they're actually doing better than whatever our financial goal is. And so if you want 10K per month, you find someone who's doing 80K per month with whatever you're doing, and you find a couple of them. Now, if you can't find anyone in your niche or your business model actually succeeding at it, you go back to step 1 and you pick a new one. Because
he's literally describing what I was describing to you guys in the beginning of this stream when we were looking at the playlist. He's literally describing what I was describing to you guys in the beginning of the stream when we were looking at the playlists. I want to make content, right? You know, perfect example. We're going to use content as the vehicle in this example. I want to be a content creator. I want to be a streamer. What content do I need to do? What content do I need to react to in order to get my goal? My goal is 1,000 views a video. Okay, let's go. I went to my playlist, right? I clicked on all the videos in the playlist and I evaluated them. I said, okay, what content creators were small? Which content creators were small? Made a video on a topic, and that topic superseded my goal. This guy's video is literally, the reason we're watching this video is literally my explanation right now. This guy's channel has 8,000 subscribers. 8,000 subscribers. This video has 59,000 views. So my logic here, 8,000 subscribers, 59,000 views. My logic, and following his own example of looking at other businesses that are doing what you're trying to do in your niche and succeeding. I said, if this guy's channel only has 8,000 subscribers, but this video got 59,000 views, if we react to this video, there's a very high chance that we're going to get more than at least 1,000 views. You know? I give the video the same title. I give it a similar thumbnail. It's going to get at least 1,000 views. Our goal is to make 1,000 views. He's literally explaining the exact same strategy I'm implementing right now. Unironically. The reason we're watching his video is because of the strategy he's explaining right now.
You need to rewire the way you look at opportunity. Saturation does not mean something is hard. Saturation is an indication of demand. Saturation is an indication of good market health. And so if there
is a bubble,
saturation, whatever you're going after, that means 99 times out of 100, there is no demand. The reason you have no competition is because it doesn't work. I see so many people like DM me and say, well, I've got this AI dog training, AI generative for disabled golden retriever. I'm like, dude, you're trying to make 10K per month and you're trying to reinvent the wheel. Your strategy is not coherent with your outcome. Align it. You're trying to make 10K per month. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. So you find these competitors. You've got 3 to 5. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're saying, look, these competitors have identified a structure of business, frameworks, strategies, inputs that work. And so I'm going to take the best from competitor B over here. And competitors A, their funnel's really good. I'm going to take that part. And then competitor E over here. Wow, that's quite...
You just pick what's working, you optimize. It's easy. I don't understand why people can't get this. It's easy. This is easy. Yo, Contest Universe, thank you for joining the stream. Big Special King, thank you for joining the stream.
A nice cold DM script. I'm gonna take that, copy it, allow yourself to copy. It's how, like, it's legal. You're allowed to do it, and it's awesome because they've gone through all the pain and
they did all the testing already for you, yeah.
And put it all together in this amalgamation of the best parts from every single one of the business. Now, obviously, we make it uniquely ours. We don't copy paste, but copy generously. Allow yourself to copy. Stop trying to reinvent things. If we can find something that already works, use it. And so once we've copied something, the next stage within step 3 is we copy the different aspects of the business.
He is cooking, I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to hate on this guy, but he's cooking.
We implement it into our business, and then we improve on it in some way. You can improve in 2 ways. You can improve with the quality of the thing. So for a cold DM, for example, improving the quality would be, if you have a templatized DM, you make it personalized. You've improved the quality, the effectiveness of that input. Now, you can also improve in another way, which is probably more realistic as a beginner, which is improving the quantity. So instead of sending 100 DMs a day, you increase that to 200. Now, as a beginner, because you don't have many skills, or you probably don't have many skills, quantity is what we're gonna have to lean on. And so if you can take someone who's already doing something successfully and double the inputs that they are running, you see how it starts to get very difficult to not be successful.
This is exactly my fucking content strategy, bro. What the fuck, chat? This guy is literally describing the content strategy. You find small content creators that have videos that blow up. You react to them. This guy probably posts 1 video a week at most. Let's see how many videos he posts a week. He posts 2 videos a week. Most of his videos don't even get that many views. 2,000, 2,000, 1,000. But my point is that a guy like this is making the videos from scratch, right? He's making the videos from scratch. It's going to take him time to make the videos and edit them. I'm reacting to the videos. I have the ability to react to 10. If I wanted to, I could react to all 8 of these videos. Not that I'm going to, because that's blatant stealing fucking content. But if I wanted to, I could increment my input, right? Increment my input and then exceed on my output by 8. His 1 video a day, I can make 8 videos a day, just reacting to their content. And when you pick enough videos that are already successful, that are already viral, and you react to them, the odds, the chances of you getting a decent amount of views from that topic go up tremendously. But this is, I'm using content as an example, but it really applies to any business. Any business. He's 100% right. He's cooking, bro. I can't lie.
If you can look at it from the perspective of what do I have to do to make it very difficult for me not to be successful, well, it's an easier way to...
But Tate already said this too. Tate said if you're giving something 1,000%, it's impossible for you to fail. Because even if you fail at the thing that you originally set out to do, you're going to succeed in some other area. You know? You're going to succeed in some other area. You start a soda company and you fucking invest a bunch of time on getting the ingredients, getting the materials to make the cans. And let's say your soda company completely failed. Nobody wanted to drink your soda, but you spent a bunch of time and resources in R&D, research and development, coming up with a can. And all of a sudden some company approaches you and says, you know, we like your can design. We're going to take that. And you become a multimillionaire selling cans because you put 1,000% into the thing you're working in. You might not succeed in the original goal, but you're going to succeed somewhere because you're putting in a bunch of effort and a bunch of time. And I really do believe that in this world, in this universe, when you put 100% into something, it's impossible for you to fail. It's impossible for you to fail. At some point, there's going to be something that breaks the dam and success is going to find you because you're putting in 100%. The problem is that most people don't want to put in 100%. Most people are lazy. That's what the problem is.
Approach things. And so if you're doing so much volume that it's unreasonable for you not to succeed your goals, you're in a good place because volume negates luck. And so that's step 3, copy and improve. That brings us on to step 4, which ties this all together. So just to recap, we have the business model, the vehicle, which leans into what we're good at.
He says, content says in the chat, oh, this is just Scott's regular scheduled programming. Y'all hit me up when drama happens. Oh my goodness. He says, I have to catch him at a good moment for him to engage. Unfortunately, Scott is a good streamer, but an extremely hard talent to work with. You have to be sneaky with Scott. He says, content wants drama. Contents, you want drama. Have those guys on Discord with Scott again. Oh my God. He says, pretty much a copy Kai. He says, just get a team of Fiverr to run your content. I know people who start with $10 and get millions. Work smart, not hard. I need the editors on the rise. But if I'm going to get editors from Fiverr, they need to be good. They need to be good. I can't have editors that are ass.
Our characteristics. We've identified what we actually need to do every single day to grow that business. That is now our goal. We've optimized for the inputs instead of just looking at the output and saying, what do I need to do, getting confused, overcomplicating. Step 3, we've identified people who are already winning, already doing the thing that we want to do, and we're copying parts of it and we're improving it. And
let's see if this guy is going to go into the #1 showstopper that stop people, because a lot of people will do all the stuff he just mentioned. They'll look at the inputs, as he calls them, which are just your actions. He'll look at the outputs, which are the consequences of your actions. They'll look at the competitors and they'll look at their goal, but they won't be able to put all those things together because they don't break it down into manageable pieces. In order for you to succeed at your goal, you need to break things down into manageable pieces. You can't just try and tackle the entire goal all at once. Let's see if he mentions it. He hasn't mentioned it yet.
Using stuff that we know works, and we're doing even more of it just to confirm and guarantee that they weren't.
People get analysis paralysis.
And so step 4 is simply doing this consistently no matter what. You see, consistency is the glue that will hold everything together. If you have no consistency, you will never get rich. It's as simple as that. Everything.
Yo, Not So Zen 1. Thank you for joining the stream, bro. How you doing?
You want is just on the other side of consistency. But everybody can be consistent when it's good. When it's feeling good, everything's going well. Consistency, it's easy, right? It's when you're in the winter of adversity where consistency becomes
supercar over editors.
You see, when every cell in your body is telling you you need to turn around, the doubt, the fear, the pain, the anxiety, you name it, the hard kicks in. That's where consistency becomes pretty difficult, because
most people are lazy. They're not going to be consistent. I'm just bringing this back down to content for you guys because it's the easiest example I can give you, since that's what I'm doing. But do you think that coming on stream every single day for a whole year was easy? Do you guys think that I just jumped on here every day, super easy for me? It's not stressful. It doesn't give me anxiety. It's not a lot of work. It's not a lot of energy. It's just easy peasy. No, it is a lot of work and it is hard. It is hard. So most people, a lot of people will say they want a goal, but then when it comes to being consistent, they can't be consistent because they get burnt out. But that goes back to the first thing he mentioned, where he said that you got to pick something that you're passionate about, something that you're going to enjoy, and then you won't get burnt out. On the Rise says, no offense, I think it's easy to just yap. It's only hard if you let it affect you. On the Rise, if it was easy, don't you think that all your favorite content creators would stream every single day? How many content creators have we seen on the internet say that they're going to stream every single day, and then after a month or two, they give up? That should tell you it's not easy. And talking every single day on camera is not easy. It's, you know, I don't blame you for thinking that way, because before I started making content, I thought that way too. But once you get on camera, you'll realize pretty quickly that it's not that easy. It really isn't. It really isn't. There's an art to it. There's an art to it. It's not easy to get on camera every day and talk, because when you talk with another person, your brain, like right now when I'm talking, my brain constantly wants to race ahead, and I have to ground myself and really think about what I'm going to say. Otherwise, I won't say anything. Isabel says, we know every struggle you go through because you make us listen to your complaints all the time for a year. He says, my nigga Ray just went live. See ya. Why would you do that, bro? But no, seriously, it's not that easy, because we've seen people over and over again say they're going to do it and they can't do it. They give up.
Most people cannot get to the other side of that. Most people don't achieve the goal of getting rich. And that's a good thing, Because if most did, you wouldn't want it in the first place. You've got to view hard as a feature, not a bug. You need to be grateful for the hard because that means you're actually breaking through this illusion of resistance and you're making progress towards the goal. Another frame you can use to help you be consistent, especially when it's getting hard, is using the Stockdale paradox. There was a guy called Stockdale, James Stockdale, a Vietnam prisoner of war, a POW in a Vietnamese camp. Now he just simply said, the optimists die first. The people who expected the most, the soonest, died first because those expectations were broken.
Of course. Okay, I already know what he's gonna say. And it's true. You can't have high expectations. Are you crazy? Back again with content creation. You're a content creator and you say, oh, I'm gonna stream. And you expect to have 100 people watching you when you start streaming. You're gonna burn out super fast when you have 0 people watching you for 6 months. It's the same thing with any business. It's the same thing with anything in life. You gotta go in with low expectations. Time and time again, I've met people who want to be content creators and they say, oh, bro, I'm gonna start making my videos, bro. That shit's gonna blow up. I'll have 100,000 subscribers in no time. And then they start making videos. They start making videos and their videos get literally no views. Their videos get 2 views, 3 views. And then it hits them like, oh shit, this is harder than I thought. And then they give up because they had a high expectation that wasn't realistic. He says, is that guy making a video in a lunchroom? It looks like he's in some sort of cabin. The background looks fucking nice. I'm not gonna lie. He says, you expect others to clip.
So if you can approach this, optimizing for the inputs, that's the goal, and you expect literally nothing from it. You don't care about the outcome. You literally just do the inputs and maybe the outcome comes as a byproduct. But if you expect nothing, it doesn't matter after 6.
But this goes back to what I was saying yesterday about the journey. People are like, yo, Scott, you're materialistic. God this, God that. And it's like, no, the materialism is the fruit of the labor. It's not the goal. It's not the goal. I don't set out, oh man, you know what I want to do? I want to buy this or do that. No, I just did the work. And then the results of doing the work were the material things. And then of course I'm going to flex it once I get it. I'd be a fool not to. But that wasn't the goal. When I became a software engineer, you think my goal was to go buy a McLaren? It wasn't. I just like the code. That's the crazy part. I didn't set out to be a fucking software engineer to get a McLaren. I set out to be a software engineer because I wanted the code. Same thing with streaming. I didn't set out to stream to become some giant fucking famous streamer. I set out because I wanted to stream first. The first thing was I wanted to stream because I wanted to talk about certain topics. That's the primary goal. Yo, Dragon, I thank you for joining the stream. He says, so if you don't flex on others, you're a fool? I'm confused. I mean, I don't know if they're a fool. I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek facetious, Rob. But what I'm trying to say with that is that if you got it like that, you might as well flex it. Why not? What are you going to lose?
Months, if nothing happens, as long as you're iterating and as long as you're
okay, I gotta pick her up.
Inputs on a daily basis, you expect nothing. I swear to God, you'll gain everything if you expect nothing. And that's the way you've got to approach it. That allows you to be consistent without getting so emotionally involved and disheartened when things aren't initially going your way, because the whole point of business is you're doing action today to set yourself up in 2 years' time. And so you've got to close that time period, and that's some ways you can do that. And so that's that. Pick the business model, identify the inputs, copy what's already working, and be consistent with it. Relentless. Spam the inputs like a madman, because if you are doing that, you are being the version of you for whom the goal is inevitable. And if you are being the version of you for whom the goal is inevitable, then it will be, because external reality is simply a reflection of an internal cause.
This video is cooking, and I'm taking this shit as confirmation bias that I'm doing everything right. Because I'm spamming the fucking inputs, as he said. As he would put it, I'm spamming the inputs. I'm posting videos every single day, multiple videos. I'm streaming multiple times a day. It's impossible for me to fail, chat. Success is inevitable.
If you found this video valuable, there are some adjacent lessons that you can find in
I'm about to fucking subscribe to this guy. I'm not gonna lie.
Get rich by mastering your mind, and there's some other similar lessons which you can run through. But apart from that, thanks for watching and Godspeed.
Guys, roll that back. I gotta go back. How do I go back to the previous video? Damn it. I have to fucking use my mouse.
Getting rich.
Okay, so this guy, chat, if anybody's curious, the name of his channel was Marcus Staten. I wanted to hate on this guy when I clicked on the video. I thought it was gonna be bullshit, and I thought he was gonna sell a course. But I ain't gonna lie, he really did cook. He really did cook. Everything he said in this video is accurate and true. The only thing that he missed in the very beginning when he was explaining the goals was breaking up the task into smaller parts. Because a lot of people will do all the research he said. They'll figure out what they need to do, all of the steps, but they won't figure out how to break it into actual manageable parts. And so they'll give up. They'll give up because they'll get analysis paralysis and they'll never actually get to step one. I'm going to drink probably water. He says, ask Cyphus how that went doing the same thing daily and expecting a different result. But Rob, I feel like that's different, bro. Because with content creation, I'm using content creation as an example, by the way. With content creation, every single time I make a video, I'm going to get better, bro. It's practice. It's practice. So you guys, you guys are like the frog sitting in water. You don't realize that every single time I make a video, it is improving. They are improving. You guys don't see the improvement because you watch the videos every day. No, my love.